Yo, what's up and welcome inside the Opening Line, part of the Elite Fantasy Sports Network. Corey and Benny. Benny, what's going on with you, big dog?
Yo, not much, man. I had a crazy night last night, Corey. I made a lot of money, and I went to bed thinking I was going to be broke, which was pretty awesome the way it all worked out. My kid had a baseball game, so before I left, I threw in a bunch of the props, which I've been doing for the NBA, and I was convinced the Yankees were going to win last night. So the Atlanta Braves, Mike Soroka was my favorite bet of the day. So I had a whole bunch of Braves, and that worked out. He was perfect through 6, I think. Ended up going like 8 innings, 1 run. So he did his job. But I had a lot of those parlays with the Yankees too, because I was like, oh, J.A. Happ against Cashner, like it's a layup right here. So I went to bed thinking the Yankees were going to lose. I wake up this morning finding out the Yankees win, which means that all of those props that I had that were parlayed with the Yankees were all live. And then it turns out to be a 240-point total in that game. So basically, if you bet anything in that game, like the Myers-Leonard over, which hit like the first quarter with 8.5 points,
Yep.
Steph 5.5 rebounds, Steph 5.5 threes, the Draymond triple-double prop, like everything hit.
I can't believe the Draymond hit again, yo. You was on the Draymond prop last night?
Yeah, the Draymond last night it was plus. I think I got it at plus 450 for a triple-double, and I parlayed it with the Yankees at minus 190 and Atlanta was, I forgot what Atlanta was, like minus 140. It paid like plus 800. So I had $100 on it, turned into 800 at the end of the night. So I was pretty happy about that.
That's a good takedown right there, especially. I didn't go back to that prop last night. I was scared of it last night. But here's the thing. It's so funny, Benny. I, like you, was on the Yankees last night, and I had the Yankees in my big parlay last night. And I also had the Atlanta Braves. Good call on Soroka.
Oh, he's a beast.
And on the Houston Astros yesterday, too. I basically put the Yankees with the 2 selections you gave me yesterday. I didn't play no hoops last night. Like I said, I looked for a couple of the props. I didn't really see anything I liked them. Plus, I was just kind of lounging around all day. So I just threw something together. Bless you, right quick. But here's one thing I tell you, Benny. I never had any doubt the Yankees were going to win that game. Like, even when they were down 6-1, I was like, oh, they're going to come back and win this game.
I had a lot of doubt. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a lot of doubt that they were gonna win. I mean, honestly, I'm a Yankees fan anyway, so I'm happy that they came back. And then, as a gambler who had a lot of Yankees exposure last night, I was very happy that it actually wound up working out yesterday. So, and then, you know what the best part is, Corey? I fell asleep in the third quarter of the Warriors game, thinking, all right, that's going to Game 5, which would have cashed off my bet there. And I woke up this morning, I found out the Yankees won. I found out the Warriors won. I was like, yo, how long was I asleep last night? I was like, what the hell happened?
You woke up to a good morning. Nah, no doubt about that. So shout out to Benny getting it done. And you helped me make some money yesterday, too. Time to get back at it tonight. But let's kick it off right quick. We know what Golden State is. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to harp on them. Successful season for the Trailblazers?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, listen, not for nothing, but at the beginning of the year, nobody thought that anybody was going to beat the Warriors, right?
True.
So if you're the team that took them to, I mean, again, they didn't really take them anywhere. It was a 4-0 sweep, but
they played them.
You're the team who made it there to the finals against them. I mean, you got to consider that about as successful as anybody thought they were going to do. I mean, did anybody think Portland was going to do better than that? Nobody thought they were going to beat the Warriors. Nobody thought they were going to go on.
Beat OKC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but we talked about it before that series even started. The championship series was Houston against Golden State last round. Mm-hmm. That was a championship, Congratulations to Portland. They made it there. They made it further than people thought they were. And that's the way I think you got to look at it. Like, if you make it further than people thought you were supposed to make it, you got to look at it as a successful season. Now, if you're one of the players on Portland, anything short of a championship, you're going to be like, we didn't do what we wanted to do this year. But I don't think you can be mad if you're a fan, if you're a player on that team, if you're management, coaches, ownership. Are you really mad that they made it to the conference final without their starting center on a year? I mean, I think they did a really, really good job this year. They had a really good regular season and a great playoffs.
The problem, and I agree with you. And if I'm Dame and if I'm CJ, you know what I mean. Some tough games down the stretch, but obviously those guys battled and played their hearts out those first 2 series. That real emotional series versus OKC, and obviously that long grind them out series, probably the best series of the playoffs, the series with them and the Denver Nuggets. So you get that off your chest. The Golden State Warriors advance. They win the West for the fifth year in a row. Draymond Green once again was fantastic, playing maybe the best basketball of his career, Benny.
I mean, I don't even think you can argue with that. And that's not a knock on the rest of his career, which has been.
No, because the rest of his career has been very good also.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, they needed him to step up without KD, and he stepped up without KD and reminded people that, hey, remember, this same team, or at least this nucleus of this team, was a 70-game winner before KD got there and before DeMarcus Cousins got there to begin with. So, they got talent over there, and those guys can play.
No doubt about it. So the Golden State Warriors move on. They advance. Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors, they get Game 4 going into Toronto tonight. We'll get to some of that stuff and break down some of those props a little bit later on. But the big story in the NBA yesterday, and it was so funny because normally when I'm done here, I process and upload the videos and stuff like that, and I'll get my day started. Just so happened yesterday as the video was processing, I turned the TV on, and Stephen A. was like, yeah, I got Magic Johnson coming up in 4 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? I can't really do the first take thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
Huh?
No, I do. I'm the same way. I normally don't watch it, but I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. I much rather watch Skip and Shannon, but I understand a lot of people don't like Skip Bayless. I'm a fan of Skip Bayless, and I think Shannon Sharpe is great. So I'll normally turn them on. But yesterday I was like, you know what? Max, Stephen A., Magic Johnson. Because, Benny, I knew that Magic was going to be unfiltered because that's the kind of guy that Magic is.
Yeah. Well, and again, what does he have to be on? Why would he have to have a filter at this point? He's not working for the Lakers, and no offense, but he's arguably a bigger star than the Lakers. You know what I mean? At this point. And the other thing with Magic too is you know this as well. Magic owns 100 business. Magic Johnson is a brand. There's Irving Johnson is the guy. Magic's the brand. When Magic goes on TV, Magic's going to be Magic. You know what I mean?
No, you're right, Benny. You know what I'm saying? At least you can't listen. I got a movie theater down the street from me. You know what I'm saying? When I lived in Maryland, had a movie theater down the street from me there. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, growing up here and knowing Jamal Mashburn has came up under Magic Johnson. Jamal Mashburn owned like 100 car dealerships in Kentucky, straight up. You know what I'm saying? He owns Pizza Huts and Subways and everything. You know what I mean? But he's one of the dudes that Magic would teach classes to these cats. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, situation in Lakerland, Magic comes on and he explains that and breaks that whole thing down, Benny. And right off the rip, throwing Rob Pelinka under the bus, and Rob Pelinka was backstabbing him. You know what I mean? More or less wondering, hey, what's Magic doing? Why is Magic not here? This, that, and third. What do you think of Magic Johnson yesterday? Because I also have a conspiracy theory.
Listen, I mean, I think the problem is Magic Johnson is the kind of guy where if you're going to put his name to something, or if he's going to put his name to something, he wants control of it.
Yeah, you got to let him run it. Yeah.
And you know what? Not for nothing, I respect that. Because, again, if you're going to use my brand to try to bring in free agents and try to sell this organization, as me being like a main part of this organization, then I want to be a main part of this organization. I'm not, Magic Johnson is not a placeholder. Magic Johnson's not some guy you trot out there for Old Timers Day and, say hey and all that stuff. And
he's not. Magic Johnson is not Yogi Berra.
No, everything that he does, he's hands-on with.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use his name and you're going to make him the president of basketball operations and all that for the Lakers, then he needs to be in charge. And a lot of people don't understand, like, the president of basketball operations is normally the guy who picks the GM.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to give him a GM to work with, why should Rob Pelinka be saying anything? You're his employee. If you got a beef with your boss, honestly, if I'm the boss, you fire him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was Magic's prerogative. If that wasn't the case,
I think Magic probably would have, his next step would have been to get rid of Rob Pelinka after Luke Walton. But Jeanie Buss obviously was not letting that happen. The Jeanie Buss thing is interesting to me because you talk about Kurt Rambis and you talk about Rob Pelinka and you talk about Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson. Benny, deep down at the bottom of this somewhere is Phil Jackson. I guarantee you.
No, not even at the bottom of it.
I guarantee you Phil Jackson was like, Phil Jackson is like, don't bring in Tyronn Lue. And Phil Jackson is probably also telling her to get LeBron James off that team. I guarantee you everything that Magic Johnson has done in regards to LeBron James and the construction of that team right now, Phil Jackson and Kurt Rambis are going against it, particularly Phil Jackson.
No, without it. I mean, they already said that. Like, there's basically the problem with the Lakers, at least in my opinion, after listening to all this yesterday and kind of what we already had been hearing all season long anyway, is there are too many people involved.
Yep.
You know, like when you have 15 people making a decision, no decisions get made.
Yeah.
You're never going to have something where everybody agrees. Like there's never going to be people there's going to be somebody who says we should go this way, somebody who says we should go that way. And if you're a Genie Bus and you're in the middle, if you side with this group, you're going to alienate that group. If you side with that group, you're going to alienate this group. There's no way to handle a situation when you have that many voices involved without having some kind of hierarchy. And that's the problem there with the Lakers. If Magic Johnson was the president of basketball operations, he should have been the voice you're listening to. And everybody below him should have been working to promote him and what his idea and his vision for this team was. When you are the owner of this team and you put him in that position, but then you cut his legs out by putting Pelinka as the GM and listening to Rambis and listening to Phil Jackson. And the Lakers want to be like that whole family environment. And I get that. And, you know,
the Lakers are America's, like, first family business. You know what I'm saying?
Right, like, exactly. It wants to be like, once you're a Laker for life. You're part of the family. You're always invited back. You're always involved. And I get that. But when it comes to the decision-making part of the thing, you still need one voice, one vision, and everybody going in the same direction. Right now, there's 15 people in 15 different directions that are leading them. Now, here's the deal, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people will agree with, but here's one of my other takes on this thing. I have no problem that they let go of Magic Johnson.
But he left.
There was a power struggle. You lost the power struggle. For Magic, I think it was the right move to walk away because he's got other stuff he can do in his life.
Plenty busy.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. So he doesn't need to be there. But I also think it was the right move for the Lakers that, I'm not saying you pick Magic's side or Pelinka's side, but if you want the franchise to function the right way, you need to pick a side. You can't do this. You can't do this in between all these different people's there. So for that aspect, I'll give it to him. Now, do I think Pelinka's going to do a good job? I don't know. I mean, the guy is basically, people who have no idea who he is. Like, he was Kobe Bryant's agent, right? Yeah. So he knows the business.
A lot of cats don't know Rob Pelinka is a member of he's not a member of the Fab Five.
He was on that team, yeah.
He was on that team.
And he actually got in a game. He wasn't like the manager on the side.
No, exactly. He was like the only white dude.
Guy. Yeah, like
he was the only white dude that played.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the guy knows basketball. He has a basketball background. He comes at it from the side of an agent, right?
Yeah.
But when you come at it from the side of an agent, what you're really trying to do is maximize profit and get the best players in at the best prices kind of deal, right? Magic's coming at it from the angle of a player where, you look at it and you say, we just don't have enough talent to compete. We need to bring in Anthony Davis or something like that. So you kind of have almost like a more of a Moneyball approach on one end. And then on the other end, you kind of have more of a, like basically the way the NBA's kind of been going lately is let's get our stars in here. And then if we have the stars, we'll just pick up guys off the street who want to come and sign for league minimum to play with them. Yeah. But as long as we have the stars, we'll win. And that's the battle that this team is in the middle of right now. I mean, Pelinka doesn't want to trade all these young, cheap assets. Magic was like, you have all these young, cheap assets that teams want. Give it to them to bring in the star we need to win now. And that was really what it all came down to with the fight. So, like I said, I'm not saying I agree with Magic or I agree with Pelinka, but I do think finally they're doing the right thing where they're going in one direction instead of having, a whole bunch of different voices in charge.
If I'm LeBron, though, I have to be concerned right now because the guy who brought me in, Magic, is gone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They didn't bring in Ty Lue, which would have been a big win for LeBron. And come to find out, you working with Phil Jackson, who LeBron James absolutely despises. If I'm LeBron, I'm like, where's my seat at the table? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a part of this thing now. I'm a partner in this thing now, too.
Well, I mean, that's the question. And I think that's where the big power struggle comes from is, Magic wants LeBron and, give LeBron what he wants in order to be able to do this. And Pelinka didn't want to do that. And I think Genie Bus sided, to the other side of it, thinking more for the long term. See, the thing is, a lot of people in this situation, Corey, all have different goals, right? Yeah. Like LeBron wants to win now because LeBron has maybe 2-3 good years left. I mean, he could play till he's 45 if he wants, but I mean, good years where he could be a dominant player that can make a difference in there. Because let's face it,
by the time this contract is over, LeBron's going to be on the tail end of his career.
I mean, by the time his contract's over, he's going to be almost 40.
Yeah.
You know, and again, the guy is such a freak that he probably still could play.
He's known LeBron since he was 16 years old. He's almost a 40-year-old man now. That's wild.
I put it this way: when I graduated college, when I was in law school, I had a LeBron jersey from his rookie year. So for all intents and purposes, as long as I've been working in this business, LeBron James has been the star of the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be weird in a couple years when that's no longer the case. It might even, you got people arguing it might not even be the case now. But, you know, for Jeannie Buss, she's looking at, well, what happens after those 3 years when LeBron leaves? You know, that's what she needs to do because she's in charge of the team. LeBron, Magic are looking at, well, how do we win now? You know what I'm saying? So that's, I think, part of the problem here, too, is you have different people with different interests that aren't on the same page. Like, if they win now, I think Jeannie Buss would be happy. But all the moves that she's making are not win now moves. You know what I'm saying? She's making moves for, I want to make sure this franchise doesn't wind up sucking for 10 years again and us having to go in and find somebody like a LeBron to be our quote-unquote savior.
The Frank Vogel move was definitely had Phil Jackson's fingerprints written all over it. Interesting to come from that yesterday. Dell Demps did not operate in good faith by letting the media know who the Lakers offered for Anthony Davis. Obviously, that sent a little shockwave through the Lakers locker room. Mm. If I'm Dell Demps, like Magic says to me, hey, keep this private. You know what? I might be like, you know what? F you, son. Y'all came after Anthony Davis and kind of ruined our thing. You think I'm going to let you and your players be over there happy? Hell no.
You know why he did that? He did that because of LeBron.
Yep.
Because LeBron tampered with Anthony Davis, you know, was saying stuff like that, and they had the whole tampering charges there. Listen, here's the thing, right? A lot of people were like, well, you know, you should have just done it because it's Magic. No. Like, the New Orleans has to run their franchise too. Exactly. And you basically made it to the point. You screwed them over the second half of this year because their star player didn't want to play after the All-Star game. He didn't even really play. He played 15, 20 minutes a game when he did play, and that was like only when he really felt like playing. So if you're going to blow up my house, you can't expect me not to blow up yours, you know, in the same thing. Oh, don't tell anybody about this. Yeah, okay. So the reason why my star player doesn't want to play is because of you, and you're expecting me to show you any kind of, oh, don't worry about it. Thanks for
yeah, you're Magic Johnson. I'm an idea.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. I would have done the same thing that Demps did.
I agree. And they said he didn't operate in good faith. But listen, they didn't. Rich Paul and Anthony Davis didn't operate in good faith either. And LeBron James is obviously a part of that. Now LeBron James is not a part of that. I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter like how was LeBron allowed to have an agency and be a player? That's not LeBron's agency. Clutch Management is run by Rich Paul, and the NBA has vetted that thoroughly and said that it is legal for him to do that. Benny is smiling. It's been vetted, Benny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no collusion, no obstruction. Let's go. Come on. Get the hell out of here, man. Come on. Listen, you know as well as I do where the money originally came from and how all that got set up and where the influence comes from that gets a lot of those players in there.
I think they traced the money. I think they did trace the money.
Okay.
But the problem is, like, okay, so he worked with I forgot the dude's name he worked with, Rich Paul worked with, and he did make his own money. I think he was making $5,000 a week when he first started working for the guy. And but the fact that you're in that spot, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, Corey, here's the deal, right? Like, you know, we both have had side hustles in our careers, right? Yeah. Well, the government knows where the $5,000 is coming from. That's what they see. That's what you're going to show them. That's whatever. But you can't tell me that, you know, it'd be like, listen, you get paid $5,000 a month, you put it in the bank, save it so you can start this agency, all that stuff. But when we go out to dinner, I got you. When we go to the store, I got you. You know that new ride that, you know, your old beat-up Humpty car that you're driving right now, you need a new car? I got you. You know what I'm saying? So there are other ways around that stuff to make it there. Like, again, I have no problem with it, though. I don't think it's that big of a deal. You know, when you pay these guys this much money, these guys are businesses.
You got to do something. Yep.
Yeah, no offense, when you're making not even like the superstars, like even the semi-stars, when you're making $25 million over 5 years, you know, there are businesses out there that don't make $1 million a year. It could take them 20, 25 years to make that. When you're making that kind of money, you need to put it somewhere. You need to invest it. You need to make it grow. How many superstars, past superstars, have we heard of that are dead broke right now? that made $20-30 million over their career that are broke. You got to have other businesses and things like that going on. So, it's almost like, to me, it's the same argument. Well, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but it's the same argument as like the NCAA saying like college kids can't have a job. Well, no offense, but nobody's feeding you for free.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't have a job, how are you supposed to eat? How are you supposed to buy clothes? How are you supposed to do all this stuff? Like, not everybody comes from a millionaire family where your parents can just afford to give that to you, especially a lot of these kids that are professional or college athletes and stuff like that. You got to take care of yourself. And if this is your meal ticket and this is your money, again, you got the connections and all that stuff in the NBA. I'll tell you this right now. Maybe LeBron James is not, quote unquote, part of this agency, but the day he retires, you damn sure he's going to be.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct about that. Spot on with that one. Other interesting things that come from this thing, Magic feels as if Kevin Durant is already signed. Magic and everybody else already feels as if Kevin Durant is already in a New York Knicks uniform, number one. Number two, he says that Kawhi and Kyrie are going to be interesting options for the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of people saying, well, Kyrie to the Clippers is the word, and Magic is saying not so fast. Just the other week, Stephen A. Smith said there's no chance that Kyrie joins the Lakers. Magic is saying not so fast on that one either. Stephen A. Smith is normally right on these things when he says a bold statement like that.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about the Lakers' chances in free agency, Benny?
I mean,
this is what Magic is saying. Oh, people want to play with. Well, you get the superstar guy in that room with LeBron. He wants to play with LeBron, and I'm like, you get the superstar guy in that room with LeBron, and he's like, wait a minute, if something go wrong, they not gonna blame you.
I mean, all right, let's take this. You're a superstar NBA athlete, right? You can go to LA. Here's the baggage that comes along with LA. You're going to be Robin to LeBron's Batman, even if you're a better player than him at this point, like a Kawhi arguably could be or a Kevin Durant could be, right? Or even a Kyrie you could even put in there. But, whatever. You're playing second fiddle one way or another. Like you said, you're going to get the blame for it.
Yep.
Who else?
If you win, he's going to
get the credit. Exactly.
And if you lose, it's your fault. That's wild. Right. Yep.
Other than LeBron James, who on that roster do you really want to play with? Because to me, there's only one other guy that I'd be like, all right, that's a chip in the positive thing, and that's Kyle Kuzma.
Who's Ingram or Kuzma?
Kuzma.
Yep.
Kuzma for me. Because listen, if you're Kawhi, you're taking Ingram's spot.
That's true. Yep.
I mean, you still got to figure out where all these guys are going to play. Because if you're Kawhi, if you're Kevin Durant, you're a small forward. LeBron's a small forward too. All right, you move LeBron to power forward, then where do you play Kyle Kuzma? You know what I'm saying? Like, where are you going to play these guys? And that's the problem that I think you're going to have. Like, Kyrie, to me, makes the most sense because Kyrie plays a different position than LeBron and Kuzma and Brandon Ingram. So he actually fits there. You bring in Kyrie, there's a ton of wing players in this draft. You have the 4th pick overall. You bring in another wing player, and then you have Ingram, you have Kuzma, you have LeBron. See, one of the biggest problems that they have is LeBron doesn't want to play center. LeBron doesn't want to bang down there with the big guys and have to do all that.
At this stage of his career, Benny, it's not a good idea.
No, it's the only idea that makes sense.
Why? Because what about defensively though? And you got
what center can he guard?
Huh?
What center can he guard?
He can guard all of them, but do you want to go down there? Well, first of all, they don't go down there. Most of these motherfuckers are on the perimeter now. You know what I'm saying?
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. It's like you're going to have, all right, against like a Nikola Jokic, you need to bring in somebody else there because you don't want him getting beat up and having to bang with him, right? But, you play Milwaukee like Brook Lopez, you might as well be playing center anyway. No offense, but what do the Warriors do? Draymond Green plays center. Yep. Draymond Green's smaller than LeBron James. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So today's NBA, you can get away with that. Because if you want to put your best players on the floor for the Lakers, you need Ingram, Kuzma, and LeBron on the floor at the same time. How do you do that? How else can you do that? You know what I'm saying? There's no other way to do that other than moving LeBron to center because now you can get some good guards in. Otherwise, you wind up playing with a guy who doesn't really fit in there. Like as much – I like Zubac a lot. I think Zubac was actually a pretty good young center. But he won't fit on that Lakers team because he clogs up the middle. They need a guy that can stretch the floor, but they don't have a center that can stretch the floor.
They talked about Magic talked yesterday about losing Lopez not being –
I was just going to say – the guy they need is Brook Lopez, and they let him walk out the door.
Yep, Magic said that was a mistake right there. Magic also touched on D'Angelo Russell, saying, and I agree with Magic. You had to let him go. You had to. After that situation, you had to let him go, and he was unfortunate. He was sorry about that, but that's just the politics of the locker room. That couldn't happen, and he wished Russell nothing but luck. He talked about the development of Kuzma and Ingram and Ball and these cats. He says that the jury is still out on Ball. A lot of people have already put Ball in the grave as being a bust. Magic is like, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far with Ball yet either.
See, here's the problem is that the expectations were too high. You know, and that's the biggest problem. It's like anything short of him being a superstar of the NBA right now, people would say he's a bust. He's going to be in the NBA for 10 years.
His rookie season, he averaged 8 points and 8 points and 7 assists, something like that.
He's going to be a solid NBA player now until probably 2025 to 2030, somewhere in there. The problem that I had, though, is like everybody, the way he was hyped up, everybody expected him to come in and be like LeBron James as a rookie. And that's not who he is. That's not the player that he is. This is still a first-round pick who's a starter on a lot of teams in the NBA.
Who struggled with injuries.
Yeah, struggled with injuries, so you haven't even seen the best of him. And he's a guy that, you know, basically has the ability to average a triple-double.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get the assist. He's a very good rebounder for a guard. He's not a 35-point-a-game scorer, but to average a triple-double, you only need 10.
Yep.
So if you're getting 8 to 10 assists and 8 to 10 rebounds and scoring 12 to 13 points, you're a very good NBA player. You're Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
Is that not what Rajon Rondo is? And Rajon Rondo has had, I don't know, how long's Rajon Rondo been in the league right now? 20-year career?
Played in big series and has been big players in big series.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not that Lonzo Ball is a bust. It's Lonzo Ball didn't turn out to be the superstar of the NBA that people thought he was going to be in his first.
He's still a young developing player, so I think the jury is still out on that one right there. He talked about Zion going to the Pelicans, saying how good of a move that was for Zion. And that's actually very good for Zion because Alvin Gentry is a very good coach. But I found it very interesting to watch Magic. You disagree with that part, huh? Alvin Gentry, not a good coach.
Alvin Gentry's a horrendous coach.
Okay.
He's not even not a very good coach. He's a horrendous coach. He's horrible.
Then he's not an Alvin Gentry guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I don't even think this is a discussion, Corey. Like, you had Nikola.
I've never heard Alvin Gentry referred to as a good coach.
All right. You have Drew Holiday, Nikola Mirotic, Anthony Davis, Marcus Cousins. And what'd you do with it?
Swept the Trailblazers.
All right. How many rings do you have? How big of a dynasty did you build with all that?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's on coaching. When you have superstar players and you don't win, it really is on the coach. Your job as a coach is not to fuck it up. He fucked it up. With that talent, he screwed it up.
All right, so where do the Lakers go from here? If I'm LeBron, I don't like this Phil Jackson thing. I don't like the fact that I don't have none of my voices in the room. LeBron was there at the press conference yesterday when they introduced Frank Vogel. I mean, if you're LeBron, you're like, I'm here now. I'm here.
I don't hate Frank Vogel as a coach. I honestly think that he's a defensive-minded coach a little bit more. Probably not the kind of coach that this team, really projects to want. But this team can score. When you have everybody healthy, when you have Ball and Ingram and Kuzma and LeBron, when these guys are all healthy, they can score. What they couldn't do last year was defend anybody. So if Vogel can bring in some of that tough-minded defensive mindset, I mean, let's face it. Anybody who thinks that the Lakers aren't in need of fixing, they didn't make the playoffs.
Yep.
So changes need to be made. Like, you're not going to come back with the exact same squad and the exact same front office and the exact same concept a year after you missed the playoffs badly. You need to make some moves here. So if him bringing a little bit more of a defensive mindset is what changes this team. Like, what this reminds me of, Corey? Remember last year when Jason Kidd left and they brought in Budenholzer? What did Budenholzer really bring to that Milwaukee team? He brought a defensive mindset, which is something they didn't really have. They were playing 120, 115 games with Giannis point forwarding the ball up and down the floor. This year they play defense, and look what happens. They're, knocking on the door to be in the NBA championship. So
right there. Yep.
Something to be said about it.
So good job out of Magic Johnson yesterday. Another big story from yesterday. Somebody must have put a hex on the Mets, yo. The Mets have to be cursed. They have to be cursed, Benny.
I mean, I don't know. Which story are we talking about? Was there something big on this?
Cespedes breaking the ankle down there on the ranch, and Mickey Callaway and the agent, and it's just like it's always a shit show in Queens.
Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I'm not going to argue that fact.
It is what it is.
Yeah, listen, here's the deal. Like this year, people had such, in my opinion, such unreasonably high expectations for the Mets. You know, like you look at the Mets team right now, the best player on the Mets team is Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the Mets team right now. You know, I mean, you got the pitchers. Okay, that's great. But, like, Syndergaard has – I'm not going to say he's fallen off, but he's not as dominant as he once was, what people were saying. DeGrom's had a very tough start to this year. You know, Wheeler's solid, but he's like a solid 3 pitcher right there, like a, you know, starting pitcher 3, starting pitcher 4 on your team. You look at the lineup here, like, who do you like in this lineup? You know, like Jeff McNeil.
Alonso, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff McNeil has kind of been their best hitter. And most people don't even know who that is.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, Wilson, you got Wilson, right? Like, they took a whole bunch of decent pieces and put them together and expected it to be a championship team. But they don't have championship team caliber pieces, and that's the biggest problem.
All right, so there you go right there. New York Met drama ensues and continues. Won't see Yoenis Cespedes probably in the Met uniform no more, and his agent is now the general manager. It doesn't get no more New York Met than that. Last night, watching the game, they were showing like clips of people courtside and stuff like that. Colin Kaepernick was sitting courtside last night. The broadcast made mention of it, whatever. You know, obviously the players after the game went and he came on the court, the players spoke to him and stuff like that, whatever. And you know, they showed him people were backstage taking pictures of him and you know, not like taking pictures of him, but like recording him on their phone and stuff like that. He doesn't take photos. A homegirl of mine was going away for her birthday, and her flight was leaving from Newark Airport, and she got to Newark, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's Colin Kaepernick." You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Everybody, well, not everybody, but some people were coming up to him and would actually take a photo, and he was like, "No, I don't take pictures." You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, ESPN last night on Twitter put the picture of him and Steph Curry embracing after the game and was like, you know, Colin Kaepernick showed up to the game. My guess is Colin Kaepernick was probably doing some Nike business. I do believe the Nike front offices are in Portland, right?
Well, I mean, Colin Kaepernick was the San Francisco 49ers quarterback in Oakland, San Francisco. I mean, you're right there. Like they know each other. They're from the same hood where they were playing. Well, not from the same hood, but they were playing sports in the
same area, like you said. And I think probably the Nike thing too, because I never seen him at any other basketball game, so I probably was doing some Nike business out there. ESPN posted the picture of him, Benny, and the comments under the picture. Yo, this dude is the most hated dude in sports, yo. He really is. Like, he is really, really polarizing dude, Joe. Like, that shit is old. We're past that stuff now. Mm-hmm. With Kaepernick and the national anthem, but he still gets under people's skin to this day.
I mean, what people are we talking about, though?
People that don't like Colin Kaepernick.
But I mean, like, to me, if you didn't like Colin Kaepernick, you probably never will like Colin Kaepernick. And if you liked Colin Kaepernick, there's probably nothing you could do to make you hate Colin Kaepernick. That's like probably 80% of the population. At least 40% is on one side, 40% is on the other side. So really, there's only like a sliver of 20% of people in the middle that are like, Colin Kaepernick, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. I would think more people would be like whatever at this point.
Yeah, like to be honest, I don't really care. He's a celebrity that showed up to an NBA basketball game.
And I'm like, oh, it's Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
I'm reading the comments though, and I'm like, wow, these motherfuckers is mad.
Why? Like what was in the comments? Like how bad was it?
Oh my God, it's talking about he's a joke. Now he's broke. He came there to borrow some money. Has been washed up.
First off, Colin Kaepernick is not broke. For anybody out there who's that stupid, Colin Kaepernick, I can guarantee you, Colin Kaepernick has more money than all the trolls that are saying that in this thing. This is a guy who's donating millions of dollars here and there to a whole bunch of charities, which nobody really says anything about. So whether you like Colin Kaepernick or not, like Colin Kaepernick is not broke. He's not hurting for money. He's not hurting for attention. You know, Colin Kaepernick's going to be fine.
You know, Colin Kaepernick live here, right?
Where?
He live in Tribeca.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yep, he live in Tribeca.
If I had Colin Kaepernick money, I'd live in Tribeca too.
He lives in Tribeca. What else happened? So yeah, I found it interesting. Like that hate, I'm like, wow, I thought we were past that by now. As far as what we got going on the court tonight, wait a minute, it was something. Yesterday, Benny, it was crazy. I went to 125th Street to go to Chipotle, and the line it was a line coming from all the way up 125th Street, all the way down, wrapped back around. And I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
At Chipotle?
No, not at Chipotle. Well,
okay.
Chipotle was in one direction, so I'm on this corner. Everybody's a ton of people on this corner. I need to go over there, so I'm out the way. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on down there? After I woke up Chipotle, I walked up the street on the other side, and the Apollo had the premiere of the a movie called When They See Us, or a documentary called When They See Us, and it's about the Central Park Five. Do you remember that, Benny?
Not really. That was, what was it like? What didn't they? There was a rape in Central Park. I don't remember the story. The only thing I remember about the story is that I know Donald Trump was Donald Trump was a big part. Yeah, I remember him being a big hater of all that stuff. But
what happened was these kids, probably between 13 and 16 years old, and the thing about it is, like, I was like 11, 12 when this happened, and these kids were all from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they were in Central Park. Just like 5, 6 dudes running around Central Park, chilling. Not chilling, but probably cutting up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Right. But a woman was found brutally raped in the park that night.
That was okay. That was it.
Yeah, and they were like, they put those kids in there, and they were like, tell us what happened, whatever the case may be. Long story short, the kids all go to jail. New York City explodes because there's no evidence that these kids did this rape, except for somebody. It was like the crime of the century. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that. Yep.
Somebody had to go to jail, and it was like, y'all were in there, y'all are going to jail. They did anywhere between, most of them did about 6, 7 years. One cat did about 13 years, and the dude was sitting in. So basically, they did their first sentence, 6, 7 year sentence, right, Benny? And one of the dudes got out. But once you get in, once you go to jail, son, you can become institutionalized. You know what I'm saying? Son was like, I need to sell drugs, whatever. Son starts selling drugs. He gets popped again. He gets sent upstate. When he's upstate, a dude comes up to him in the day room, more or less, and was like, I was the one who raped that lady. And yeah. And son is like, excuse me? And he was like, I was the one who raped that lady. And he was like, what are you talking about? And he was saying that rape that you're in jail for, I raped that lady that night. And he was like, are you serious? And the dude was like, I am serious. And the dude actually said, I've been trying to tell you this for a while now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get messages to you and stuff like that. So attorneys was called, and sure enough, Benny, the evidence was sitting right there in the station. They never looked for it. It just so happened there was a bunch of rapes going on at the same time. And they had DNA, matching DNA, but they never ever checked. And the dude, they went back and they checked, and the DNA matched, and I think they ended up getting like $2 or $3 million a piece from New York City. But the funny story about it is, Benny, in 2016, these dudes have been released from jail for about 6, 7 years now. In 2016, when Donald Trump was asked about it, he said, no, they're still guilty. So they premiered that movie yesterday, and I was wondering if you remember that, because that was like a big story about childhood here in this area right here.
Yeah, I was probably about 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, so probably was too young, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember I remember hearing about it. I remember all the craziness. I kind of didn't know at the time what the whole deal was, but doesn't surprise me in the least bit, and also doesn't surprise me about his reaction in the least bit either. You know? Yeah. No, that the lady, the actual lady who was raped in Central Park, she runs the New York City Marathon every year now. Like, nobody still knows who she is. Like, interviewed and stuff, her face is blocked out for the most part and stuff like that. But yeah, she's a marathon runner, and people in that service that run. What is this? Oh, okay. People that's into that stuff. That's probably why she was in the park anyway. Everybody runs through them. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Us lazy people don't. But there's a lot of people who are in shape that run through Central Park all the time. It's a nice
thing about it is that part of Central Park where that lady entered Central Park at, I would not have interested. I would have not. That's part of the park is down the street from me. I wouldn't go in there now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, nah. As a matter of fact, I was over there the other night. And he was walking down the street, and I was like, nah, son, let's cross over the other side of the street. This entrance on this side of this park right here is wild. All right, what we got tonight, Benny? We got Bucks and Raptors. Are you doing anything with the side and the total?
No, I've been staying away from the sides and the totals on this series for the most part. I've basically been sticking with the props because a lot of the props have been hitting, and a lot of them are pretty easy. And I mean, we talked about this the other day. Vegas takes so much money on who's going to win and the over under that number is always dead on. But when you start looking at the props and you start looking at it, they usually don't take enough action. I'm not going to say they don't care, but they don't care as much. And a lot of times you can find some good ones in there.
One thing about these, when you see these and you like it, you got to get on them early. You ever bet the first basket?
Here's what I'll say about first basket. If you want a way to juice up a parlay, you can throw like what I did the other day when the UFC fights were on. There were 4 or 5 UFC fighters that were like minus 500. So like when you put them all together, like if you put the 4 of them together in a parlay, it was still like minus 130. So what I did was I took like CJ McCollum, Draymond Green. I took like 3 or 4 guys, I think, to score the first basket because then that juices it up and you can get like a plus 300 or plus 400 payoff. But that's some shit you do for like $20. That's not something you
this is like
massive bet on. You know what I mean?
I'd rather do the first 15, the race to 15, than the first basket of the game. That's just like something that they just sang the national anthem and you lost $20.
Yeah.
The Giannis rebound prop has moved.
It better move. I mean, so far it was 3 for 3. Listen, I told you guys at the beginning of the series, this is the way I've been playing the playoff series right now. It's like when I do my analysis, I'm looking at the games that they played against each other during the year because that's what I'm doing for DFS. So that this way I could write up, hey, this is where the guys should go. This is where the guys should go. And this is what I'm saying about DFS and betting having a lot of overlap is, one of the things I said to you is, I'm playing Giannis this whole series because this is a guy that, in the games where he plays 35 minutes, he's getting 15, 18 rebounds, and the prop was 12.5. It was minus 110 the first day, and then they moved it to minus 120. For game 3, I only got minus 140 on it, but I hit it every one of those days, so just keep padding the bankroll. What's it up to now, and what's the payout on it?
Well, you're getting minus 120 on it again, but it's 13.5 now.
I'm still fine with that.
You still going with that?
I'm still going to put it this way. I'm playing with house money on it anyway, but this is what I try to do is you find the trend, you ride the trend. The trend that I saw in the games that Milwaukee and Toronto played was that Giannis was coming up with massive rebounding numbers. So I hopped on that trend in game 1. I stayed on in game 2. I stayed on it in game 3. There's no reason not to still be on it in game 4. Even if I lose, I'm still playing with house money at this point on it. So I'm sticking with it.
Let's look at what else you looking at. Let's look at some made threes. Brook Lopez made threes. 1.5.
I would do it because he's going to play a lot of minutes. I like that one. I'll take it.
Minus 140 on that one.
Not at minus 140. I'm not taking it.
No juice. Not enough juice on it. Okay.
Yeah, if it was minus 120 or below, maybe. Put it this way, at 1.5 at minus 140, that's where it should be.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any value in it.
Kawhi Leonard made threes. 2.5 is plus 122.
2.5 plus 122. It's not really Kawhi's game, but he does come down. I would say this, though. With him not being a little bit hobbled, maybe he's not going to the hole as much. I don't know if I would take that, though. It's not something I really want to mess with. No.
What about Marc Gasol?
What's his?
Made. I just saw it. Why can't I find the name? Oh, they don't have Marc Gasol made threes.
Like, I'll tell you what. Here's some things for, like, DFS-wise that I'm looking at that would translate to props. Like, do you have Malcolm Brogdon's points tonight?
Yes, Malcolm Brogdon points is one of the ones. I was going to actually mention that. Malcolm Brogdon points was 13.5.
Over.
Minus 125?
Over.
Okay.
I like that one. That one I'd take. Trying to think of other stuff that I was looking at here. Like, what's Gasol's rebounding prop?
Marc Gasol. Well, there goes Marc Gasol points. Marc Gasol.
7?
Huh?
7?
Marc Gasol points.
No. The rebound. I could care less about his points. The rebound is the one. Rebounds to me is more. His points fluctuate. His rebounds stay kind of the same. You know what I mean?
6.5.
Yeah. So I like him for 7 or over. So I would take that one too. What's the juice on it?
Minus 115.
Yeah, that's not bad. I like that a lot, actually. I'd take Gasol over 6.5 rebounds. See, the problem with Milwaukee is a lot of guys score, right? Especially this series when they had Kawhi on, like, Middleton. You're getting a lot of guys that score 12 or 15 points on their team, and Giannis being the one guy who can explode for a big number. But nobody else is really exploding for a big number other than, like, Brook Lopez in that first game. But, he's not going to shoot like that every game. And that's why it's tough because, like, a lot of those points props I'm not really on with them. Yeah. And even a lot of the assist props because – like, the thing that I want to be on with the props is more on the Toronto side because the Toronto guys are all playing 30, 35 minutes because they only go in, like, 8 deep. Milwaukee's playing 10 guys, so you might get a couple of these guys only playing 26, 28 minutes, which is not the same as, like, if I'm taking a prop, like, I think I'm going to get 30, 35 minutes out of Marc Gasol. So if I take Marc Gasol's prop, I have faith that he can get over that number with those minutes. If you take a prop on some of these guys like Brook Lopez to hit 3 3-pointers or something, there are times when Brook Lopez skips rotation or doesn't play. Yeah, So, like, if you're only getting 27, 28 minutes out of him, you need him to be really productive in those minutes. Whereas, like, Marc Gasol could have stretches where he doesn't do anything for 5 or 6 minutes, but the fact that he's playing 30, 35 means he's going to luck into a defensive rebound here or there or an offensive rebound here or there. And then he can get you over that number. So I just feel more comfortable with numbers on guys that play a lot of minutes. You know what I mean?
What about Danny Green?
I don't know. I don't know what
series. His made threes are under is 1.5. It's dropped to 1.5. His made threes for Danny Green. 1.5 is at minus 166, but the under is at plus 122.
Yeah, he's going to knock down at least one because he knocks down at least one every game. The problem is, like, Danny Green could hit 3 or 4 this game, or Danny Green could hit 1, play 27 minutes, and only take 5 shots.
That's true, too.
And that's the thing. Like for me, as long as Giannis plays 30-plus minutes, I don't think there's any way he gets less than 15 rebounds. So that's why I keep riding that prop because, to me, the thing that would change whether or not he does go over that number is if it's a blowout and they don't play him enough minutes. With Danny Green could play the 30, 32 minutes we want him to play and still not hit 2 threes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's why I won't bet on something like that.
No, I feel you. I agree with you on that one. That makes perfect sense right there. Anything else you're looking at tonight as far as these props go?
I liked a lot more of the ones last night, especially with Iguodala not playing. Like, I was on so many of those props yesterday in that Golden State game, and a lot of them wound up working out well. This series, really, on the Milwaukee side, Giannis is the only guy I trust. So I'm looking at the Giannis rebound prop. On the Toronto side, I like Kyle Lowry. What's Kyle Lowry points today? Is it 16.5?
Kyle Lowry points today is 14.5, and you get that at plus 1. You get that at even money.
Yeah, oh my God, I'll take that. Yeah. And that's a great one tonight because I don't think Kawhi's 100%. I really don't. So they're going to need other guys to step up, and there are very few other guys in this team that can step up and actually, score some points. I think Kyle Lowry is going to have to be that guy. So Lowry at even money. If you put Lowry at even money and Giannis 13.5 rebounds together, you're probably going to get, like, what does that pay out? Plus 2 something?
I don't think you can parlay these, right?
You can, as long as it's not the odds boost ones. I think you can. You know what? No, you can parlay. I don't think you can parlay 2 in the same game.
Yeah, you can't parlay 2 in the same game.
But you can parlay, like, if you like some baseball games.
Baseball game, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing last night. That's actually why I did all those, Atlanta Braves, New York Yankees, and, some of these prop parlays, because you can do it with that. So that is the way you can go about it.
Yeah, so, we get in there and get you some baseball action. Then you go to EliteSportsBetting.com. Don't forget about that. Get the information over there. Benny, what you got going on today? You not no chats, no live chats, no nothing like that today?
No, I actually, with the NBA kind of winding down, I'm going to be switching over to doing a lot of MLB articles probably in the next week or so. I may still have some NBA stuff to do for the finals, but really we're just kind of down the showdown slates right now. So today I'm going to be doing a lot of looking at a lot of the MLB stats that I can catch up on since I've been concentrating on NBA. And then the next couple of days, I think I'm doing a bunch of the, the cheat sheets and the hitter breakdown, stuff like that.
All right, there you go right there. Opening line, part of the Elite Fantasy Sports Network. My big piece of chicken goes to the guy I talked about earlier, my man Draymond Green, on his great leadership of the Golden State Warriors down the stretch. What you got, Benny?
It's my big piece of chicken right here, baby. Whipping out the old Sanchez jersey
Good
for
one.
the All-Star
Good
game
one.
a couple
That's
years
good.
ago. Man made me a lot of money with that late 2-out, ninth-inning home run last night to put the Yankees up 10-7. So, big piece of chicken today. Big piece of pollo going out to my my boy, Gary Sanchez right there.
I love Gary Sanchez. After the game, he was being interviewed, and he had the translator right there with him. And I'm like, go ahead, Gary. Don't ever learn the language. We love you the way you are.
As long as he gets 10 home runs, I'll learn to speak Spanish to listen to him. That's fine.
Oh, man, there you go right there. Gary Sanchez and Draymond Green, they get big pieces of chicken. For my main man, Benny, I'm the fantasy executive. We are out.